Chapter 2 Instruments to Study Weather. In the last chapter, we looked at the various factors that determine the weather on a daily basis. By understanding the varied patterns in the temperature, wind, rainfall, air pressure, one can effectively learn to describe the local weather conditions. Weather, however, is measured using various instruments. These instruments are used to take measurements of various atmospheric parameters at local weather stations. This chapter entails an insight into the various instruments used to forecast weather. First, thermometer. An instrument used to measure temperature. Most thermometers measure temperature by direct contact with the air. Special infrared thermometers, however, use sensors to detect the radiations from the surface and predict the temperature. The common thermometer, however, is the mercury thermometer that is used in residential areas. The level of mercury expands as it heats up, indicating the rise in temperature, and the mercury contracts when it cools down, representing the drop in temperature in the atmosphere. Carefully manufactured and labeled temperature levels on the instrument indicate the level of temperature instantly. Second, barometer. Used to measure air pressure, the aneroid barometer is one of the most common types of barometers. It uses a can of air to detect changes in the air pressure. As the pressure goes up, the can slightly reduces in volume, moving the indicator needle towards higher pressure. When pressure goes down, the can expands slightly and the needle marks towards low pressure. Such and special types of barometers report electronic signals to the computer that plots the pressure onto the computer monitor. Third, hygrometer. This instrument is used to measure relative humidity in the air. Humidity is the amount of moisture content in the air. There are many types of hygrometers. One of the most common types contain animal fiber, usually human hair, that stretches when the relative humidity increases and contracts when it decreases. The fiber that is used is connected to the levers that turn the pointers in the dial. A psychrometer is also a type of hygrometer. It uses two thermometers to measure relative humidity, the dry bulb thermometer and the other wet bulb thermometer. The latter contains water in the base that evaporates and absorbs heat, which in turn decreases the temperature reading. The difference in the temperature reading of the thermometer determines relative humidity. Fourth, the rain gauge. This instrument measures the amount of liquid precipitation, that is rainfall, over a certain length of time. In the simplest of its uses, it is nothing more than a can that collects water falling from the sky. Precipitation, then, is measured in simple metrics. Placed in an open area to minimize errors and obstructions, there are limitations, however, to this measure of rain, and careful attention must be paid when studying rainfall. Fifth, the anemometer. An anemometer is an instrument used to measure the speed of wind. A cup anemometer is used 3 to 4 hemispherical cups mounted on horizontal arms on a vertical rod. The speed of the wind is determined when it pushes the cup and the arms of the instrument to rotate. Used with a wind vane and placed on a windmill, this instrument will help predict the speed and direction of wind. A forecasting tip, therefore, for everyone. Direction of the wind is always given where the wind is coming from. That is, a west wind is blowing from the west and going towards the east. Meteorologists use a wide range of tools to help them collect information about weather and climate. In this chapter, we have covered some of the widely used instruments all over the world to predict weather. The collection of accurate data using instruments help in developing a clear and descriptive picture of weather. We have now completed the introductory section of your weather watching course. The next section focuses primarily on each of the weather variables in detail, helping you get a better knowledge